Hi everyone, my name is Maria, and in this video I'm going to just give you a basic overview on what policy debate is. I'll give you some general tips and kind of give you the structure of the debate and the things that you should try to do. So the first thing that you should know is that it's a 2 versus 2 debate. So there's an affirmative side with 2 people and or 2 representatives, and a negative side with 2 representatives, okay? And basically what you assume at this point is that a resolution has been passed. It's already been passed, so you're not debating on whether that should be passed. What you're debating on is on a plan that should be carried out to enact that resolution, okay? People can talk really fast in policy debates. I actually included another video later on that gives you an example. And it's kind of funny because it's a really long debate. It's one of the hardest because it's so long. It lasts about an hour and 30 minutes, and yet people literally heave when they speak of how much they have to say. So again, there's a lot to be said. People, they'll be talking and they'll be like, so the reason why we should have put this plan is because of that. Okay? So it gets a little bit weird. People speak really, really quickly. Not everyone, but again, they do. Okay? So that's something to watch out for. Not something that I would necessarily recommend because you want to make sure people understand you. But if you have a lot to say, then you're more than okay if you do that. All right, so you have to make sure you also get a good partner. This is a very competitive type of debate. Okay, people get really intense, and if you have a partner who is going to mess you up, who is going to say something that is going to hurt you, and believe me, if you are on the affirmative side, some kind of judges I'll explain to you later, if the negative points out like one thing that's wrong with your plan, you're done. So you want to make sure that you have a partner who is not going to put you in jeopardy, okay, or put your plan in jeopardy, or maybe attack the opposing side in the wrong way and then get that plan passed if you're on the negative. Just make sure you have a good partner. Like I was saying, it's the most difficult type of debate. It's also the most formal and perhaps the most acclaimed because it's so difficult. So it's really, you get better with practice, but it's difficult, okay? As far as speaking order, I'll get into the actual flow of the thing now, but first I'll tell you what you have to do. But basically, there's no speaking flow in the sense that it's not one representative from this team, and then in the next time that this team goes, it's the other representative. You can actually choose that. Usually what people do is, okay, I'll do one speech and one cross-examination, and then the next time it's our turn, you do one speech and one cross-examination. That's the way it's usually done, all right? So, like I said, there's an affirmative and a negative side. So what the affirmative side is going to do is it's going to propose a plan, like I said, to carry out that resolution, with, of course, evidence and reasons on why that plan is the best plan and why it should be enacted. What the negative side is going to do is the negative side is going to oppose that plan by finding things that are wrong with it. They could give an alternative, but they shouldn't focus on the alternative. It would add to their argument in a good way, saying, you know what, instead we should do something like this, but they do have to pretty much attack that plan, okay, and say, you know what, that plan doesn't do X and Y, so we cannot enact it. All right, or it's going to harm this person because of X and Y, so we cannot enact it. Okay, so what the affirmative side is going to have to be really careful of doing is of presenting a good argument, and they have to do this by supporting 5 things. Shits. And you might say, what does that mean? It's an acronym. I find that it's a really easy way to remember it. Shits. The affirmative argument has to talk shits. Okay, like I said, that's an acronym. And I'm just going to go through each letter of the word and what it stands for and give a little overview so you kind of know, okay? So the affirmative side, like I said, has to talk shits. Very quick, let me zoom this out. Okay, so the first thing that they're going to have to make sure that they do is give the significance of the topic at hand, okay? Basically saying, why is this issue even important? Why are we even going to waste our time making a plan to carry it out? Is there even really something that is so imperative and impacting that we should do? And within the significance, they usually try to say, who is it going to affect? how is it going to affect them? How is it going to affect the nation? How is it going to affect individuals, states, whatever. The next thing that they're going to have to do is talk about the harm. What bad thing will happen if we don't carry out this plan? Okay, whether it's people dying, whether it's people losing their money, whatever. What harm is going to come out of not implementing this plan? The next thing is the inherency. This is a little complicated, so bear with me. I outlined it on the bottom. It's a little bit complicated, okay? Inherency, what basically the affirmative side is going to address, is something that they're going to attack often, is what's keeping the plan from happening right now. And you have to make sure you address that. Why is this not something already? Okay? What is keeping it from happening right now? And there are 3 types of inherency. That's why it gets a little complicated. It's not really that it's hard. It just has like a lot of like subsections and things you can go into. So it's a little bit lengthy to explain. So like I said, inherency is what is keeping this plan from happening. And there are 3 types. The first one is structural inherency. And that just basically refers to laws and different barriers that are not allowing the plan to pass. For example, other barriers like funds. There have not been enough funds in the past to fund this plan, and since it wasn't such a big issue in the past, it wasn't a big issue to spend money on. But now that this and this has happened, and we do have the means to fund this, and it's become such an imperative problem, then whatever. Okay, but structural inherency is basically laws and other barriers that are keeping the plan from actually happening. That's structural inherency. Now, attitudinal inherency is a little bit weird to go into, but you can. It's basically beliefs. In the past, people believed that this and this, and that's why this law wasn't passed in the first place, and no plan was done to enforce it. But now, with the changing society, who now has a more, liberal view, then we should definitely do this, okay? So again, attitudinal inherency refers to people's beliefs, people's customs, people's ideals, whatever. And then you have existential inherency, which is really the most basic type. It's like, you know what? It just hasn't been passed, all right? Nothing really is stopping it from being passed at this point, but it just hasn't happened yet. It has not. It has not come up, for example. All right, that's existential inherency. The next thing in the word shits is T, which is topicality. And this is where the affirmative side has to make sure to kind of say, how is the plan on the resolutions topic? So how is your plan relevant to that resolution? And this is really important because you might have a great plan, but if it has nothing to do with the resolution, you're done, okay? So you have to make sure that your plan corresponds to the resolution, and of course explain and hopefully in detail how it pertains to it. And the last thing in the word shits, the last letter there is S, and so the last thing is solvency. And that just refers to, does the plan solve the problem? Of course, you can't just be like, yeah, and so obviously it solves the problem. You have to say, it solves the problem because of whatever, and not only why does it solve the problem, but how will it solve the problem? So that's where you would kind of really like explain your plan more in detail, and by doing this, we would be making sure that this, and thus, whatever, okay? Now, before I get to the actual procedure of the debate, the order of the speeches and their timing and all of that, I'm going to go into the types of judges. There are 2 types of judges when it comes to policy debate. There are stock judges and there are lay judges. The difference is that stock judges decide the winner based on the following. They say, okay, if the negative side is able to attack one of the affirmative side shits, or, if they're able to say, the issue is not even significant, if they're able to say, implementing this plan would actually harm a lot of people, and not implementing it wouldn't harm anyone. If they're able to say the things that are stopping your plan from being implemented right now, or that have stopped it in the past, will continue to do so, your plan is just not going to work. If they're able to say, you know what, that's great, but your thing is completely off topic, it doesn't pertain to the resolution. And if they're able to say, your plan is not going to solve the problem at hand, okay, it's not going to be successful. If they're able to do any of those things, well enough, then the stock judge would then choose the negative side of as the winner. If it's not able to do that, then obviously the positive side would win. Okay, then you have lay judges. And Lay judges are kind of more like, you know what, it's just based on who argues their part better, you know, who has the best delivery, who has really good arguments. Kind of just when you're watching a debate and you say, you know what, I think he won, and you have no really particular literal reason. You just think a certain person won because they were just in general, just a better debater. Then that's what a lay judge would do, and that becomes a little bit controversial because you should decide who the best debater is based on their, you know, their points and their delivery and all of that. But some people, it's these kinds of judges just say, no, I just want to pick the person who I think won, and I don't want to give a particular reason, and I don't think attacking one part of the plan may be sufficient, you know, for the negative side to win. Okay.